Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Can you hear
everyone.
me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
because I had to switch some stuff around on my little setup here.
Hello, everyone. Hi, John, Jacqueline, XD. Good to see you. Thank you for coming.
Hey, XT, Jacqueline, Sean, cool. So thank you, Michael, for being here. Um, and we also have a special guest, and then I'll explain exactly what we're talking about today. So let's go ahead and bring on the special guest. He is now, you've seen him here before on Civilian Discourse, and we had some very interesting discourse last
Hello again.
time. So I just wanted to bring him back, especially with such a juicy topic.
You got the secret
Oh,
topic happening, yeah.
yes, and I wanted to actually Black Life. I wanted her to join us. She'll be here in a little bit.
Yeah,
Um,
I was mostly just going to be adminning in the background tonight, so I can step out now if you guys are good to go for your interview here. So
yes, but I wanted to get your opinion on some of these uh, some of these videos, and let me tell you why. Because I'm noticing that most of this relationship fight that's happening through social media is only really black and white people talking about this. So I don't see any of these videos. Maybe I'm not seeing them. Maybe my algorithm isn't dropping me those gems. But I don't see like that coming from like the Asian community or the Latin community. So I thought that was quite interesting and peculiar. So that's why I figured, Michael, I want to hear some stuff you had to say as well,
yeah, well,
because you're in this fight too.
yeah, on that, I would say most likely it is that we're not seeing those things because of our algorithms, because they're kind of
Mm,
designed based on the things that we've already chosen to the content we've already viewed. It will give us try to make predictions and give us a content based on that. And then in this way, the algorithm typecasts all of us, tries to decide who we are based on our digital footprint, and it kind of shapes our beliefs and our path through the media a little too much.
yeah, I was thinking that, but I thought of it from a perspective of shouldn't it be sending me things based on the topic of relationship, not the ethnicity of the people who are discussing the topic. You see what I'm saying?
It kind of comes down to how who programs the algorithm and why,
Mm,
in
that's
what
true.
way.
That's
Part
true. I
of
don't
that
Sorry.
part of that algorithm is your or every
ethnicity.
individual's search history. So, it sort of reinforces the things that you most
Mhm.
look for and, interact with.
But
So, in that
but
way, it's
again, that's why I thought it would be relationships, not just the ethnicity of the people talking about relationships. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just wondering if there is an audience for that out there, um, or content creators out there doing those types, having these conversations. So thank
So my
you.
business partner, she's Indian, came to this country at 16, your traditional Hindu Indian, right? Arranged marriage, the whole bit. Wonderful person. Uh, I watch when we go on business trips and she's got her Netflix on. I watch, some stuff, and they've got the same sort of, I don't want to call it ratchet, but they've got the same sort of conflict and cultural, uh, you know, entertainment drama stuff in their language, in their culture, in their content entertainment.
Yeah.
So I would probably say it's culturally focused rather than genre focused. You know,
Mhm.
you black, you a lot of the stuff you likely search is stuff based on the A squared people, and so they sending you stuff A squared. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, and then
Interesting.
in America, if it's A squared, then they're gonna give you the opposite, which is Caucasian or white.
Mm.
So
So are you ready to get into it?
yeah, let's do it.
Peace, Rondo.
Whatever it
Um,
is, let's get at it.
I know. Okay, so there are some videos that are really, really. Oh, shoot, I can hear that. Hold on. That are really, um, how do I say, very positive about like having positive relationships with um, with your partners. But there are some that are very problematic. So let me share. Black Life just popped in.
Hello, Black Life.
Um,
Hi. Hi.
so here we go. That's my phone. Okay, should I bring you on? Where'd you go? There she is. All right. Okay. So this one is it's not really about the partnerships, but I'll just figure I'll rip the band-aid off. Because I just this narrative is okay, fathers are always needed. Okay. I'm not saying fathers aren't always needed, but he's trying to make it seem like he's trying to use this video of these children to imply that if a father was in the house, this wouldn't happen, which isn't true. A
Yeah,
father could be in the house and that still could happen, right? A single mother would. There are single mothers that wouldn't even tolerate this. So let's just see what he's trying to portray here.
Can you hear her? Let's no! Go. We're not going to bed! No! What do you not understand?
Okay, fine. You can have 1 more hour.
You go to bed. Yeah, you go to bed.
What?
Child,
No. Go to bed.
child, who? I can't even imagine talking to my mom like that.
Is this a prank?
No.
Because you know they have a prank where they get to sass the parents in
Oh,
front of the other.
I hope so.
I don't know if that's a prank.
I hope it is. Hi, John.
That's crazy talk.
But yeah, I just wanted to show that about the narrative of without a father in the house, all chaos would ensue. You know what I'm saying?
well, there's plenty of weak fathers that would let their kids walk over them just like that too. But
Right.
then people tend to call those men like less manly, try to take away their manhood if they're not like showing up expectations of what people expect. So
I think they like to call them simps.
yeah, there's plenty of words.
Okay. So now,
I don't know any fathers uh, from. I don't know any fathers who would put up with that sort of thing. I don't know too many mothers. Who would
right.
put up.
That's just not the circle I hang around.
But what I would say is, uh, I wouldn't use, and so that example is just sort of, on its face, one of, however many millions of family households there are. But I wouldn't say that's the byproduct of not having a father in the home or having a simp father in the home or having a mother who can't. That's the byproduct of, you know, children not being cultivated under an air of, respect and honor and discipline.
Hmm.
In mimicking what they see on social media, regardless if it's a prank or not. They mimic a lot of things that's inappropriate. That's
So,
shared with them.
That's a good point. Yeah.
so if
I think that might be I guess we could bring gentle parenting up for discussion with that. Some would say that's a byproduct of gentle parenting, and some who gentle parents say, no, I just take more time to help my children get to the conclusion or what have you.
Wait, so gentle means allowing them to talk absurd to you?
No, I think what gentle parenting is supposed to mean is like you sit down with them and go through all of the why is your behavior not showing emotional intelligence in this moment, and what can we do to change it.
I'm an
And like,
advocate of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I'm definitely an advocate of. I mean, we talked about this the last time. I'm not for corporal punishment. You know, the belt, the whip, the switch, the boot, whatever. I'm an advocate for if gentle. I don't. I'm. This is the first time I'm hearing the term gentle parenting, but I'm an advocate of communicating and discussing with the child and having the child have some say. Um, but I think you got to
Yes.
show a firmer hand.
Were you
That's the type of language that's being
pow
used.
pow in the butt?
I didn't hear that. Is that a question?
She asked where you pow powed on the butt.
No, I was beaten, whipped by a mother,
Okay,
and
I,
then
I, I was trying to be gentle.
and then I had a father who didn't have to beat and whip me. He communicated with me and was stern, and so it was two different parenting styles I
Mm.
came up under. For my father never hit me, not one time, but I respected him, and I knew where the line was because he let it be known. I knew I could beat his ass, and I knew he could beat mine, but he didn't have to use that as a means of setting the boundaries in the house. I respected him, and he showed me respect, but we knew what the hierarchy was. My mother, she was, the opposite of that. And so two different styles.
I appreciate having the contrast because that was done here downtown.
When you say
April,
here, what do
I'm
you
sorry, Abby do lived an hour away from me, and her her parents' parenting style was completely different than mine. Mine was a single parent, of course, but even the people in my neighborhood was, all in the same mind frame of whip, pop out, tear it up, kind of thing. I don't think I seen any households where people talked with their children where I'm from. I don't think
mean?
everybody got a whipping.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality. And, the science does demonstrate that, corporal punishment at starting at a young age sort of reinforces this negative feedback loop in our behavior when we become adults. So, it's unfortunate that our folks find that to be the way, less patience, less discussion, less allowing children to have a little latitude and be young humans figuring it out, but also setting firm lines that won't be crossed and having consequences. Uh, you know, but
I'm glad you just said that because Jacqueline says it wasn't that the woman was gentle parenting, it was that she gave in. And I agree with you on that because gentle parenting would have been, she explains why they need to go to bed at a specific hour because, then they need, because when they wake up, they're not going to be groggy. Their brain's going to be well rested for school. There's, structure that has to be had and things like that, right? She just gave in and said, okay, I'll just let you stay up for another hour, which if it was the weekend, maybe I would let them do that, but not talking to me like that. No,
no,
no.
yeah, I definitely think talking the way, and we're seeing this in an isolated incident. You don't even know if it was just sort of hype for social media or if it's, the nature of their relationship.
That's true.
But in a vacuum, that video, that's poor parenting. See, I believe, right or wrong is up for debate, but I believe there's no such thing as bad children, only bad parents.
Hmm.
Bad parents create, and bad is, not my favorite term, good or bad, but in the context of what we understand as good or bad, there are only bad parents, poor parents. And those poor parenting skills or lack of parenting skills rear children that are emotionally unintelligent, you know, and all the other stuff going down.
Extremely reactive.
Yeah, well, I'm glad was it Sean that said that last comment, because that's kind of what I was wanting to touch on was I think it's good to kind of get a little bit more to the root at what's going on, if you can, what's happening when people are disciplining with technically violence their children. They're using fear as a motivator and pain as a deterrent, and that's kind of what we've been taught by our society, that is how things are, not as much as our own parents. So it's kind of like the mores of our culture, and so it's something that, like, science, Isaiah was pointing out, like the science has proven that fear as a motivator is like the inferior kind. It's not really what it's cracked up to be. People have yet to dispel the illusions about that. They still believe in its power. And the thing about the woman giving in, she's trying to kind of do that bargaining with her parents. So she's trying to motivate them with rewards. And it's you're kind of in a transactional relationship with your kids, and you've kind of lost the authority. So
Lost the authority. My cousin would always say she spanked her kids when they were little so they wouldn't try to beat her ass when they got too big. They already had that mental memory that my mom does not play. And then, the bigger they got, she stopped spanking them. It was more talking to them logically and rationally. But she said I had to put that little fear in them so they'll know in the back of their mind that mama will, she don't play like that. So that's one school of thought. I don't know. Okay, are we ready to go? Oh, you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just fear is one thing. You know what I mean? It's like I have a cousin. He's younger, a younger male cousin, still older, And before he had his daughter, he was adamant about being, that kind of parent that will whip. And now he has a beautiful little baby girl, and it's like that whole mind frame shift. It's not like powing on the butt. It's the first thought.
Sorry.
That comes into his mind, And I'm like, until you experience something yourself, it's easy to have an opinion about things. You know what I mean? It's easy to, like, the reason I'm not a parent, but the reason why I'm so close with it is because of my experience as a teacher. Because what parents don't do at home by holding the kids accountable for their own behavior and choices, tying it together, you come to school to somebody like me who's going to take, well, I had to work my way up into taking my time to explain it because the coach in me is quick to yell. So I'm also as an adult working on stuff too.
Jacqueline said she really had to sit on her hands because it was so difficult not to use corporal punishment on her kids sometimes. So this next one, is, oh my gosh, Cam Newton. And if Michael, do you know how to share without it automatically changing the layout? Because that sucks. It does that every time when I'm trying to set it up, even though we're not ready for it yet.
I'm not sure what you mean by changing the layout.
And then we're going to talk about it.
Women in poverty,
I'll talk to you about it later.
A girl who can't afford to say, sorry, I'm gone. She just can't afford to do it.
Okay,
So
wait.
I take advantage of that.
I got to start this over so you could really hear it.
And my needs.
Because this is just disgusting. So now we're switching over to like the power dynamic between a relationship.
So I need you to watch
within
this,
a relationship.
and we're going to talk about it.
Women in poverty, I can control them better. A girl who can't afford to say, fuck you, Corey, I'm gone. She just can't afford to do it. So I take advantage of that. That might be wrong, but her poverty and my needs, most of the time, it even out. I don't really.
Oh, we lost the audio.
What happened? Yep.
Hey, children.
Okay,
Can you make it bigger for
take advantage of that? That might be wrong, but her poverty.
I was trying to do
and
that.
My needs, most of the time, it even out. I don't really need a lot of their time. And they don't tell me to fuck off because they know when I come over, their children can get some outlet Jordans. I'll let Gucci. I'll let Gucci. But how you speak of women, right? Where you want control. Is there ever want control that is taken by force? I want control because I'm the one who is the leader of the pack, naturally. So could you see yourself in a situation where a woman makes as much as you or more than you? I like women who make money, just I can't do nothing with you other than sleep with you. If you could take care of yourself, you don't think you could talk to me. I don't like you talking to me a lot. I know you got your own money and all like that. So if you want to, we can hook up, hang out, do that for a minute. But I'm saying girls in poverty, because they have a deficiency. Poverty is a deficiency out here in America. I can fix your little deficiency if you do what I want you to do. I think it's an even exchange. Yeah, but do you see how that comes off as? No. How does it come off? Look, we're exchanging services. Okay, but that's not prostitution. It's all prostitution. What's not prostitution? The only woman who's not prostituting is a woman that's married to their husband. Everything else, you owe.
What y'all think?
Yeah, want to go first there?
Who wants to go first?
I think I'm gonna get myself in trouble if I go first.
Well, I would say that comment is part of a larger microcosm of our misplaced values and our misaligned values to materialism and consumerism rather than the natural sort of familial hierarchy. I don't want to put words in that person's mouth, but I can appreciate the idea that in line with sort of, I don't know, maybe a Christian or understanding of the relationship between man and woman, right? God spoke to Adam. Adam took that conversation and communicated it to Eve. So in that relationship, Adam was the leader of that dynamic. And so our traditional Christian cultural society here today would have man being sort of the leader of the household, defining the cultural agenda for that familial construct, teaching it to the woman, and then the woman teaching it to the children. I think that guy there bastardized it in such an egregious way by attaching it to a materialistic consumerist direction and not, sort of in my mind, what is the appropriate way to be sort of a spiritual type of relationship.
Basically, he just magnified how black men see women. Black women. I was looking. We were looking at Boys in the Hood yesterday. Right?
I wouldn't say how black men. I would say how the patriarchy sees women.
I'm saying black men specifically because of what we were watching yesterday. We watched again Boys in the Hood, and there was a couple of lines where Ice Cube just continuously refers to women as bitches and hoes, and so and so. And so one of the female characters asked him why, and he didn't really have any kind of substance or any kind of answer to come back with. But I'm saying, in real life, that was on Boys in the Hood. But in real life, not Maxine Waters, Dionne Warwick. I just saw a show of Snoop Dogg giving an interview with Dionne Warwick when he was younger, invited him over and kind of went off on him about referring to women as bees and hoes and so forth, right? I'm just saying it's embedded in the culture that's how you see women, and that because it's even in young men, they think that is the way to get a girl.
Okay, I wanted to speak on it more from the power structure stance because that's why I said that's how the patriarchy looks at it. So that's why women weren't allowed to vote and they weren't allowed to do all sorts of things because that kept the patriarchal structure in place. And the more it was needed for women to be in houses to be two parent working houses, and the more rights women started gaining, you see that paradigm shift now, right? Women are divorcing at a higher rate than men. And they talk about that on here a lot too, about how some women are feeling like they are single parents, a single parent, even though they're married. So they're like, well, why not just be a single parent and keep my peace if that's going to be the case? So I think that's why he is gravitating towards a poor woman, because then he has control over her financially, and she's not going to express how she feels about the way he is treating her, because he has her, um, I don't know, he has her hook, line, and sinker, I guess. And yes, Rondo, that was Corey Holcomb.
Yeah. I would say that the idea that like the men are the pimps and the women are the prostitutes. He said it's all prostitution, and I'm thinking, based on my research, that this is the capitalist mentality of what a relationship between a man and a woman is. So
Yep.
I agree with Isaiah saying how it's about like materialism and consumerism. When he says that he can't even, like, there's no point in like, talking to women. There's only one thing he wants from them. It's objectification, right? Commodification of a woman. And then the idea in a capitalist society of a successful man is most closely associated with, I would say, the image of a pimp. So someone who's got enough prestige and power to be able to demonstrate his power through the number of women, like the number of cars that he has, whatever, under his thumb, and then can kind of have power over his relationships with his friends, his male friends, as far as being able to bargain women like chips to them and stuff like this, and to compete with them over dominance to demonstrate who's the most realist man of them all, kind of thing. So
while devaluing the woman.
yeah,
I want to know, in you guys' opinion, the dude that died, Kevin, what's his name? Kevin, whatever. What's the man that died having sex with a woman who used to rape women?
Samuels.
Okay, him and Corey. How would you compare their two viewpoints of women? Because they both are valuing or devaluing women. Do you agree? Like, just tell me what y'all think about those two.
Well, one,
Yeah,
Michael, do
Samuels.
you know who Kevin Samuels is?
no, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm sure you know, though. I
Maybe
said
if I'd look
it.
up.
I'm not familiar with either one of those people. I don't
Interesting.
know who that guy was who you played the video of, and I don't
A
know who you.
He's
comedian.
a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really know the other guy too much either. I think
He's
I
now doesn't
just
watch much TV, and he be about his business. He ain't got time for
Who's
that. Is now.
oh,
You know,
Um,
I want to. So you played that. I don't know those guys, right? And like you said, I'm not, well versed in the pop culture thing, right? I keep my energy focused on a thing. I got a clear purpose, so I ain't really trying to get all mixed up in that. But I will say, there is, in no way am I in agreement. So, two things, right? First, I don't deem what I heard from that guy any more or less egregious than is the general state of this, like Michael said, the capitalistic system we live in. Now, you can call it praying if you like, and it may be that, but he's making a deliberate choice to put himself in a power position relative to his economic authority with a particular subset of women. Now, the woman understands and she knows that she's accepting that type of guy to make that trade. So it takes, like, I'm a business person, right? We make contracts, we make deals. It takes two people to make a deal. So are we calling that, I don't know, prostitution? That's what he called it. I won't disagree. I couldn't say one way or another, but I know there's definitely a trade-off happening there. And I'll also say that let us not be in some sort of rose-colored glasses wearing circumstance where we believe that it's all exploitive, right? The opposite side of that guy is the woman who is out there purposely searching for someone who has those means and is using her female womanly dynamic to extract dollars in the same way he's using his male dominant power to extract whatever it is, sex or control. So, you know, you know, we can point fingers at black man did it or black woman did it, but I think so. I'm a solutions oriented person, and I'm not really big on looking at the problem. I'm looking at the solution in all things I do, and the solution to these sorts of things, in my mind, is to move away from this cultural value based thing that puts materialism and consumerism at the forefront of our treatment of each other. And that's what that ultimately is a byproduct is. He's got money, she don't. She needs it to pay her bills or go to the whatever and do whatever. So she's going to trade whatever she has, which is nothing except perhaps her sexual favors. And he's going to take advantage of that. Vice versa, women who I know and men and have had experience with, who you know as well, Abidu, if you know what I'm talking about, right? They will reveal themselves in a way that uses their power, which is their sensuality or their female allure, to
Feminine
extract what's net feminine wild. That's right. To extract, that's their power, and they'll use that to extract what they want from that guy, and there's a trade-off. But both of those ill-fated choices are, in my mind, the byproduct of misplaced cultural values.
Have you guys ever seen the movie with Jennifer Lopez? I think it was based on a true story. She was like a madam, and what's the young black girl? I can't think of her name right now, but she's like a kid star. My point is, it was a true story based on a madam, and how these girls used to drug these men, you know, go out with them, drug them, take their credit cards, and live it up. Well, I don't know if you all heard, but Cardi B admitted to doing that, either on the radio or on the interview or somewhere live, and they swept that shit under the rug so quickly. Tell me, what's the difference between men sexually assaulting women doing that similar thing to women talking about, yes, I gave him drugs and then, you know, did whatever they needed to do to him?
No, she didn't do it. Whatever she needed to do to him, she robbed him.
Well, yeah, that's what
So
I mean.
it wasn't sexual assault involved. It was
I know,
theft.
but it was in the premise in the
I
mind
mean,
frame that they was going to
it's
get
still
some sex
you've
from her.
taken something from somebody. Yeah, whether it
Yeah,
be
but the men were under the assumption that they were going to get something from her. She did what she did. She did a P. Diddy, basically.
no, P. Diddy sexually assaults people. You can't.
I'm talking about putting
I
things in the
understand.
drink.
I understand the putting things in the
That's
drink.
what I'm saying. I'm being clear.
Okay, I'm just saying that's
Yeah.
not sexual assault. That's
No.
theft.
But it's still
She's demonstrating pretty bad character, is kind of what she's saying.
Yes.
Maybe
bad
Yeah.
character in a
She's a woman.
sexually charged environment. Because
Yeah.
a strip club, all of nightclubs with all that stuff, that's still, to me, in the realms of it.
Exploiting
I understand
sexual
what you're
desire.
saying. I just want to make sure you're not saying she was
Sexual
sexually assaulting
exploitation.
them. Okay.
That's
Yes.
that's not with violence.
I'll give you that. Sexual exploitation to lead to theft.
Diddy also robbed people, blackmailed, extorted.
I've been over here. The reason why I'm looking this way is because I was trying to find a Kevin Samuels video for y'all. I wanted to find this one specific one, but I can't find it. But they're probably all just as bad.
I was shocked that Jackie knows.
No, she said she doesn't. So
I thought she did.
we'll leave him alone because he ended up dying on top of a woman he didn't know
Who's
in
that?
a house he was renting, Kevin Samuels, while he's telling women that they don't have enough value to get a high value man. But he wasn't a high value man. He was faking it the whole time.
He considered himself one. Are you front?
All right, so let's try this next video. Now, this is what I was talking about, Nahilo. Say I didn't feel like presenting it, but as soon as I share screen, it's going to pop up without me changing the layout myself. I don't like that.
Glitchy glitch.
Hey, Cookies, how's it going? Good to see you.
Hey, Bad Cookies. Okay. Let's see what this man has to say about. Well, let me just play it first and then.
First, because
I got to refresh it. While it's refreshing, he's, I guess, giving women advice about being single mothers or what have you.
Oh, we lost the sound.
a single, the same men that be creating
Hang on,
single mothers. There are men that think giving you a child is less of a commitment than marrying you. That's wild. I don't want to marry you, but let me sleep with you unprotected. Let me put a child in your belly. Let's make this lifelong bond with an actual life. But I do not want to commit to you, but I'll give you a seed that we got to see each other for graduations and homecomings and birthday parties. There are men that say, I'll never marry a single mother. That's because you didn't marry the single mother you created. Think about that. Stop letting these men put babies in your belly.
And not a ring on your finger. That's what he was saying. But not everybody wants to be married.
Is that what you're
right.
saying? Yeah. I don't really believe in
not...
marriage, right? Considering it's like this bourgeois institution that's kind of shaped it and implemented it and makes the laws about it and this kind of thing. And that's one thing that's really upsetting, that the man is the one who's making the single mother, and we're not going to bring in any kind of a focus on class analysis at all, as if like the hard times, economic times we live in isn't making single mothers as much as weak men, whatever, quote unquote.
Single mothers were created in the early 60s with social welfare, when they made the mothers choose between having the man in the household or having the support of the government. And that's late 50s, early 60s. And from that time, if you look at the statistics, the decline of the two-parent household has steadily declined from that introduction of social welfare until today. And in each generation, it's been a little, amplified, right? First, it was affirmative action, put a little bit of a separation between it. And then it was the prison industrial complex, put a little bit of a separation. And then it was the earned income tax credit, which put a little bit more incentive and separation between it. And then it was now the commodification of it through punitive damage, right? Now you can go to jail for not paying child support. So every generation, that creation from that almost 70 years ago has been built upon, that creates this thing. Secondly, I would say it takes two people to make a baby. No one creates a thing when it comes to life. It takes both an irresponsible, if I'm addressing what this person has, it takes an irresponsible, emotionally unintelligent male to
as long as it's
such a thing, and then it takes that woman who's allowing that to happen. Unless, of course, it's rape, and then we're talking about a different thing. But
we gotta try not to say that word. Maybe I see a lot of other content creators try and use the word grape because there's key words that kind of get flagged. But it's all good.
Oh,
right?
And I think we might we're supposed to say essay as well.
Yeah.
What's that? Essay.
Essay would be sexual.
for the
If you
other.
say
Okay.
the actual code word, like the
Okay.
COVID rules, like if you say that, but that's how they control our thoughts. We're not allowed to think and speak our minds, right? So
So
you say
there's
how
That's why
so
you can't talk to your children correctly, because you have to censor yourself in so many other different down places. You don't even know how to use correct words to be able to talk to your kids.
Yeah.
So is now you forgot one reasoning Jacqueline so eloquently put out about the crime
Sure I
bill.
did.
How many single mothers were created because of the crime bill?
So I thought he mentioned the prison industrial.
Yeah.
Choose to be single mothers
Oh, okay.
nowadays.
Sorry.
What I would
It's a lot of choice now.
what your comment made me think of was the lesser of two evils, because by introducing that welfare choice between having a man in the house or access to government funding, that seems to me shaped in the form of a lesser of two evils choice, and so it seems like they kind of know human psychology. They understand that people typically will always choose that lesser of two evils if they feel that those are the only two options. So. They do it with the carceral state too. When you're offered a deal, as far as you can try and take what the lawyer offers you, or you can try and tough it out with your integrity and plead your case with your honesty. See how that goes. So
That's right. It's
So along the lines of children again, Cam Newton, I used to think he was a cool dude until he got his own podcast, and then I was like, something ain't right.
Shannon Sharp also. It just brings out that real character.
I'm not. I like Shannon Sharp's interviews.
I don't. Ever since he did that stunt with that fucking sex thing.
Well, that's different from his interview style.
No, I don't.
I don't like that
makes
stunt
me
he
think
did
he's
either.
fake.
Well, they're all
And
fake.
an opportunist. Nah, but he wasn't projecting that at first. He was trying to be like he was sincere and authentic. Now he's pushing sex pills.
Sex pills?
I just don't like it. That's just my opinion.
He pulled this stunt where, because he has a brandy or a bourbon or something, and he went to Total Wines to do a signing. People were waiting for him to do a signing when they buy a bottle of his whatever liqueur it was. And the way he got out of the car just looked so, he just looked really zesty. You know, zesty.
I don't know.
And and the walk and everything. So people started like mocking him.
Even before that.
People started mocking him and recreating that scene. And I guess he didn't like that very much. So he pulled this stunt where he claimed, so he's supposed to be having sex with this woman in the studio. Somehow his live came on.
Went live.
So you could hear it.
Bed.
So you could hear it. And
he's proving his
that
manhood.
didn't sound, yeah, proving his manhood, but it didn't sound good. I was like, ew.
What does zesty mean?
I'm thinking.
I'm trying to find the. Oh,
you mean
okay. Okay.
I'm guessing that what you meant.
Gayish.
Okay. Oh, right. So then now he had to do something to sort of refute those whispers.
But it just made him sound gayer. Okay. You'd have to hear it. I don't want to play it.
Can I add a little bit more to the story? When Cat Williams did the interview.
Well, I just want to say one last part. He used that stunt to start selling sex pills. That's where that comes from.
What's a sex pill?
Exactly.
You mean like Viagra?
Yeah, something.
Okay.
Yeah, it started with an R, Rose something. But my point is, it was staged. It was fake. And he used to be the first one to call out people that do stuff like that. And now he all in it. It's just it makes me disgusted with him, you know? It makes me disgusted that he doesn't have the courage enough, if he is bisexual and he getting it like he wanted, to say it. There is no confident man in themselves, confident enough to say, yeah, I like it in my butt. Will Smith, whoever the hell they did it, all of them. Okay. I'm just saying, none of them have the courage enough to be completely real. They will get on there and stunt and front, and then push some not gay, erectile dysfunction pills, and you have all these celebrities on there co-signing. It's sleazy. All right.
Okay, so I'm going back to the whole thing about children. Okay, so Cam Newton is a psychotherapist or something. Dr. Brian is her name. So she came on his show. He's kind of like bragging about how many children he have and how many baby mamas, and saying he wants more kids. I think his girlfriend's pregnant right now. So disrespectful. He's saying on the show that he's looking for his wife. His girlfriend's at home pregnant.
He is saying the exact same thing that Corey Holcomb said, but he's on a different money level. You see how he's sitting and how he carrying himself? What he's saying and what he did say during this interview is that he can pay for whatever a woman wants and he can make a woman do whatever he wants. That's the same thing that dude just said.
I think this is yeah, so that's why Nick Cannon does that. So let's see what this woman tells him about that though.
I want to respond to something. You said there's a lot of that black women, I know it was a joke, but being serious, black women are women, you know, folks would hire to do the detective investigative work. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to find out anything. They're going to be on social media, Instagram, cell phones, all that. They're going to piece it together. They're going to figure it out. See, that's the dysfunction that I'm talking about is an issue.
Okay.
And that's also when I'm referring to low functioning behaviors. That's a choosing issue. Mm-hmm. First of all, not that I'm better than any other woman or they're better than me. I'm not choosing a man that I have to become a detective to. Even the men I caught off weddings from, to their defense, just because I caught it off doesn't mean they weren't good men. I'm choosing men who I can be a wife or a woman to. I'm not choosing a man that I can be a detective to. So when women are choosing men, I think that certain things to become aware of are, do I have to go into my detective, which is my trauma? Do I have to go into my investigative, which is my dysfunction? Yeah. Because if so, that man is triggering and bringing those things up. And he only brings those things up in you because those things are in him. Yeah. And start trusting your spirit more, ladies. And this is another thing. Women with daddy issues are going to be okay with being an investigator and a detective. Because oftentimes, remember, they have learned subconsciously how to investigate and detective. Why is daddy not here in the household? So it doesn't make me say, why would they not grow up thinking the norm is to wonder where you're at, to wonder what you're doing, and to wonder why you're not there, and think that that's okay based on their norm of daddy issues. I have a father who we were best of friends, who was extremely involved in my life, a father, a daddy, everything. So I never had to wonder or investigate my father. I never had to wonder or investigate his motives with me. Mm-hmm. So I don't navigate the world thinking that that's the norm to try to figure out or investigate on social media, through your cell phone, through anything, what your motives are, who you are, what are you doing. That is an unhealthy relationship. That is your trauma and your pain choosing for you. And I would offer that any woman who's in that situation get help. Leaving isn't easy. And to learn how to choose different, learn how to choose better, because you deserve better. And let me go further. The man who you're investigating or you're feeling like you have to do these things with, and you can't just be in a safe space, you can't nest him, he also deserves better. And his getting better is you pivoting and leaving and telling him that he needs to get some help before he can be with a woman who is of your caliber. When I say your caliber, who's willing to get help for yourself, so you choose different. Daddy issues don't mean you got to be with your daddy. It just means you got to take inventory of what daddy who you didn't have looks like and stop choosing that kind of man. Next question.
Ouch. Okay, I thought this was about the kids, but
would you like to sing a song with me? It's a lot of fun. Have a seat.
I want to respond.
I think maybe
I'm not looking for talent. I'm looking for bravery.
I know, I'm trying.
And you'll be very brave.
There we go.
You said there's a lot of that black woman.
I think if you take it off stage, even if the sound's still going, it'll mute it. But I was going to say now's probably a good time to bring up the word love. A lot of talk about what kind of a man or a woman that you're supposed to be looking for, and the concept of love is kind of completely left out. And I think that's part of the people have given up maybe on believing that they can find love. And then when you do that, what do when you look for a partner? You look for a more of an objectified version of a partner. You're looking for their qualities they have as what they can bring to the table, as opposed to some idealistic idea of falling in love or whatever.
Okay, let's unpack that, because to me, like, okay, I'm like, what's love got to do with it first? Got to see how people treat you, what their character is, their personality, and then you set that as a standard, and after that standard is set, the love will come, right? But if you are doing this love at first sight, well, he love bombed me, so I'm staying to try to, like, it's almost like cocaine. You can never get the first high, but you keep trying. Not that I've done cocaine, people. That's what I've been told. So when
It's
they
true for
love bomb
marijuana
you,
or any drug. That first high kicks in the rabbit down the hole.
oh, well, when they love bomb you and then they take that standard away, you're staying because you're waiting for him to change, to him or her to change to the love bombing part that you remember and what made you fall for them in the first place.
I think love bombing is more of a thing that is what happens with a manipulator. So that's kind of only, I would say, use that term a little bit critically. You know, like don't overuse it, because people who like genuinely love someone, they might do what would be considered love bombing, but if it's done not with a manipulative intent, if you just feel enthusiastic about somebody, then you may naturally kind of show all kinds of love for someone all at once, and it's just because you're excited. So
but that's not love bombing. That's actual love.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about love bombing.
So when
where they're doing it on purpose with bad intentions.
Isaiah may not know what love bombing is.
No.
Oh, it's when it's like when you bring your representative to the table and you're showing them the man or the woman you think they want to see, and making sure that you provide them with enough attention, love.
You mean in the beginning?
Yeah, in the beginning.
Everybody.
So, and
that's
then
like
once
a gaslighter technique, I'd say. Like,
yeah, and then once you see, and you know in your heart that you know in the back of your head you're doing this on purpose, so you can catch them, and then the real you will show after this manipulation period is over. And you show it like crumbs and crumbs. It just starts getting worse and worse.
And love bombing can, I think, I'm not no expert on it, but I'd say it's often paired with other tactics. Like they do the love bombing when they need to, and then if they feel a need to assert control or something, they'll do kind of like the opposite, and then they'll like use criticisms to kind of make the person feel doubtful about their themselves, and all about trying to manipulate the person into doing what they want. So
that's a lot of narcissistic behavior. Rondo says love bombing is what cults do to hook in a mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. You would call that person a mark if that love is not like real love. If it's just used to get the person, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes that's the game. The game is to see how you can hook or get the person to fall in love with you. And that shit is happening younger and younger. You know what I mean? They talking about love bombs in middle school.
Well, at least they know what it is, so they'll know what to look for.
We all know what it is because we all share the same social media. It's not like it's filtered from them.
Well, if they're on social media, some parents don't let their children be on social media.
Where can this discussion be found? Is there a link? Somebody's asking me just sidebarring here.
Oh,
Go
Abby
with?
do, Abby don't.
Okay. What is that on? Is there a platform or
YouTube.
YouTube or Rumble?
Oh yeah, or Rumble.
okay? Just sorry, somebody's
No, no
texting me.
problem. So while he's doing that, let me pull up. So we're still on children,
Wait,
right?
before we move off, I'd like to
Oh, okay.
interject a particular thing. So, okay, admittedly, we know I'm culturally out of the loop. Okay, I admit that. And also, admittedly, I haven't been on a date and I can't even remember how. So that's two. I'll put those right out there.
Television.
But I didn't hear that. What was that?
I was asking if you've been on in tunnel vision, focusing on your career and specific things.
I run businesses and I'm unabashed capitalist, so I ain't got a lot of time for that other stuff. But I do remember there once upon a time being the idea that two people put their best face forward because you want to sort of put your best face forward. Now, who I show you on the first date, second date, third date, yeah, there's a mask, and of course, I'm not gonna perhaps come right. Well, not me, because I'm just not socially adjusted. But the mask would put that face forward. Now, I'm hearing love bombing, so it sounds like maybe what was once upon a time two people just showing the best version of themselves in the beginning is now some sort of manipulative tactic. Okay, I'll respect the cultural shift, and perhaps that's not, that's frowned upon now. But what I want to say is I don't believe that any one person is responsible for another person's feelings. I believe that we all are individually responsible for our own feelings. I don't make Abby Do feel a way. Abby Do chooses to feel a way based on our interaction. Those are her choices. Abby Do doesn't make me feel a way. I feel how I choose to feel based on my reaction to her output. The line of communication, I communicate, it transfers, it's heard by the other person who receives it, that person takes it in, and then once they take it in, they choose to have a reaction. And so it seems to me a lot these days in my sort of limited experience outside of my professional endeavors, socially, publicly, that there's a lot of attributing emotional states of being to another party's responsibility rather than the individual accepting or realizing or acknowledging or believing that they are responsible for their own feelings, good or bad, right or wrong. Somebody can call me any kind of anything. I choose to feel this way or that way about it. I can say something to someone. That person chooses to feel this way or that way about it. And much less in my sort of limited, again, interaction with folks, am I hearing or seeing people being responsible for their own feelings and their own choices about how they feel. And more often are we pointing the finger at another person and making them responsible for how we feel. And I think that's emotionally immature. I think that is giving your power away to someone else and not recognizing both negative and positive, that the individual holds the power to feel and emote any way they choose to any level of output from the other party.
Well, I think you give people too much credit. I would say yes and no there.
I was saying, yeah.
We can't. We have limited. Our free will is constrained. So to some degree, we have a power of choice over whether or not to be offended or not. But sometimes we feel things whether we choose it or not. No matter how hard we try to feel differently about. I think the genocide's a good example. There are plenty of people who have chosen not to be offended about genocide. Whether or not that choice is the right choice to make, I don't is not really what we're discussing here. But there is plenty of other people who cannot really, they don't feel themselves if they choose to not be offended by it. They feel that there is no choice there. It is an inherently offensive situation, and the only reaction is to be offended. So there is no choice involved whatsoever, particularly if you want to bring in religious beliefs and stuff like that. If you choose your religious beliefs, then your religious beliefs then choose your choices for you because you are making an attempt to adhere to a doctrine. So
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I was just listening to what is now said earlier, and I agree with what you're saying, but I'm going back to my teaching experience in middle school. We have to break down and model appropriate ways, whether it's what does empathy mean? How do you treat other people? You know, how to be like those things that you just said, those are great. It is coming from a home that it is being modeled or discussed. But the majority of the kids are not emotionally intelligent enough because they don't have emotional intelligent people raising them. You understand? So they're not really having a discussion of those types of things, even though you would think that some stuff would come up, but it's missing, man. There's a lot of ingredients missing in kids when it could be so simple as to sit and talk to them about certain things. I love the way that you explain, and I love your point of view. It sounds like you were exposed to some great stuff, man. Like honestly, I don't come across too many black men who are very empathetic. Honestly, I lost my faith in finding. All right,
Got the camera. You in the camera.
oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm just saying that
She don't want to be in the camera.
it's a breath of fresh air to hear people like you and to communicate with people like Rondo and Sean and the guys who pop on in our chats. Because in reality, you come across people who have been desensitized and do not consider other people's feeling, whether it's a girl, whether it's an older person, whether it's a peer, it does not matter. It's like that emotional being inside of them is dead.
Well, you know, I appreciate the kind words. I am grateful for, you know, having good parents and sort of having whatever divine influence that's steered me into a particular belief. Um, and I get the idea that our societal community is a little bit deconstructed in that way. Um, and so you got to meet people where they are. I dig that, and you know, sort of try to build it. And it's like a ball of yarn, really. And you really can't get to the center of that ball unless you sort of unwind it. And you know, my parents are teachers, or my father and my stepmom were young kid teachers, and then you know my father not so much. Once they moved to Florida, black man couldn't be a teacher, and my mother was then an art teacher. But you know, empathy, sympathy, recognizing others' plight, all of those sorts of things, difficult to teach for teachers in, you know, whatever 50 minutes you have a kid for a class period and that sort of thing. You know, right? Being solutions driven in these things. Because a lot of the videos we're watching, a lot of the stuff that we've seen thus far is all the byproduct of generational trauma and harm that's sort of demonstrating itself in this iteration of our collective consciousness, right? And so those problems go back generations. Can they be solved going forward by diving in to today's version of those generational conditioning traumas?
That's a good.
I'm not sure.
It's a good time to mention that we could talk about conservatives, how they kind of want to society to kind of go back to a previous a preferred form, or liberals want society to progress forward and get out of what they perceive a harmful situation. So part of the issue with us being able to determine how best to deal with generational trauma is the conservatives may be considering what one person's trauma is another person's character building kind of thing. So we have to resolve that issue as far as objectively which side is most correct, I think. So
yeah, there is two sides of it, right? Talking about this American experience, right? One person's trauma might be another person's heritage or lineage, or and there's going to be a fervent defense on either side, and it makes it very difficult to see how healing or sympathy or empathy can be, or some sort of bridge, to that resolution comes about. In specifically in the A squared community, African American A squared community, I believe that our salvation comes from, at every moment we are having this sort of male, female, black man, black woman, you did it circumstance. We gotta shut that narrative down. In every instance, take it back to a historical context, recognize that we are at each other in this moment because of things that were intentionally done to us at another time that that we didn't participate in, but have a responsibility to overcome. And perhaps, although it be very difficult when you're yelling at me for cheating, or I'm yelling at you for spending up my money, we got to recognize that, okay, let's take a pause here. What's really happening? This is intentionally being done, and we're just acting on a thing that was intentionally programmed into us. Let's step back, recognize the historical context, lower the temperatures, and try to find some amicable level of discussion to resolve this particular issue that we're talking about, whatever it is in the moment, right? And that's very difficult. That's a heavy lift when temperatures get real hot, real quick, over any sort of issue. Fuck you, nigga. Fuck you, bitch. And then it's like some whole other thing, right?
Then things snowball or whatever into an avalanche, right? Yes. But I'd say that sounds like historical materialism to me, right? I agree with that. What you just said there. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, I have another one for y'all. Gotta restart it. So when I have to restart Facebook, Instagram, then I have to do the volume. So let me try to do it as fast as possible. Right here.
Anymore, unfortunately. And here are the reasons why. In today's day and age, guys think they go to work, they come home, they play their video games, they watch their football games, they hang out on the couch playing with their phone, they go out with their friends, and that is their day. What do women bring to the table? They take care of the house, everything looks great, take care of the kids. Hey, by the way, are we going to the parent-teacher conference? No, mom's going. Hey, did you schedule that doctor's appointment? Mom's got it. Guys, we've got to bring more to the table. If you want to feel needed and wanted by women these days, do everything like they do. Match their energy. Women don't really need men anymore.
What do y'all think about that? Oh, I got real quiet.
So again, it's been sort of beat ad nauseum, right? I'm not on the social media space. I'm not in that world, right? But every time I watch one of these videos, either from men or women, it always comes across to me like pandering for the particular effort, right? Pandering for the views, pandering for the likes, pandering for the following, right? That's what it always
Yeah, there
comes
is
from.
content creation, right? But
That's
with that being said,
sure.
there
No,
that
go ahead.
like that is a big frustration that I hear from women a lot. So even though they're using it to create content, it doesn't make it less true for some women and how they feel. Like, let me show you this one, and then we'll see what you say.
That's not my total view on that particular clip, though. I was just putting that out. I do it.
Okay. This
no,
is this is really close to it. So we see you on the other side and see? It's only a minute.
That's right.
Okay.
Some y'all's boyfriends are going to get mad at me for telling y'all this, but it's the truth and you need to know it. If you have to ask the man you are living with to help you with household chores, you do not have a male-female partner relationship. You have a parent-child relationship. A partner, an equal adult in a household, does not have to be asked to do things because they recognize it is their household. That is it your trash is being taken out. That is it your dishes that needs done. That is it your children that need watched. So the next time you catch yourself having to ask another adult in your household to help you with something, recognize you do not have a partner. You have a child who is an adult who's living in your house that you're having to ask them to do their chores. Tell me again how we're supposed to have all this feminine energy and all that stuff when we are functioning in the role of a parent and having to tell our child what to do. Parenting a child doesn't bring out feminine energy in me. It brings out mothering energy in me. Thank you, because I'm a healthy adult. What brings out feminine?
Oh, she said, oh wait, oh I messed that part up. She says, I'm gonna have to read it to you because I cut it off too fast. She says, she
I'd
says,
say people are mind
what brings about feminine energy in me is a masculine man who is actually an adult and functions like an adult, not a child.
Period.
So that's what that was. Who wants the floor?
I like what Rondo said, which is what I believe too. It's not just TikTok though. I just believe social media and the internet, the algorithms are weaponized to sow discord between people, whether it's men and women, women on women, race, different things. There's videos to back up any irrational thoughts you have in your mind anyway.
Rondo is definitely
Okay.
100%.
I'm not saying that it doesn't do that, but to just say that is saying that these aren't real issues that need to be discussed. Are you saying that?
No, I'm saying
Okay.
she's right, because if you are not in tune with your partner enough to be able to know certain things, or it's a vibe thing. I mean, to me, it's a respect and vibe thing. You don't have to ask somebody to do some obvious shit if they are paying attention. But if something is causing them to be distracted, then that's a perfect moment to have a discussion, not point fingers and be upset with each other, you know?
Right. So, I mean, and that's why I'm trying to bring these up because there are some that talk about men very positive. Let me give you a positive one real quick.
Yeah,
In
let's
fact,
not.
in fact, I got two.
I sent you something, Abby. I just sent you a text message.
Oh, okay.
Your text messages.
All right.
There are plenty of men who do household chores. I was one of them before things changed, right? But I think that it's hard for people to give some men credit where credit's due if they are actually doing that little bit of a role reversal where some men do stay at home, raise the kids these days. It's just not as it's not what comes to mind. You know, it's
Oh,
not the
there are
anecdote.
some. Yeah, there are some. I've seen those too.
But my thing is this.
Oh, you sent me something to play on here?
It depends on the person and their character.
Can you put, hold on, I'm sorry, 1 second. Can you put in the private chat? Is now, that'll be easier for me to pull it up.
I don't know. I couldn't. That's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
difficult.
Never mind.
I
I'll
took it-
figure it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll both have that.
I lost what I was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I messed you up.
No, I thought I was just basically saying like it could be in a person's character also. We have to take responsibility of the people that we select to be in relationships with. I know how sometimes people act like you gotta wait five dates before you could realize that you were an asshole. Hell no, if you observe it, you know, you can pick up on a whole lot of things. If your character is imbalanced or it doesn't match, then you can pick up on a lot of things. Like you don't have to actually live together to know somebody's sloppy and nasty as hell. And if they are fronting, they'll tell on themselves sooner or later. That shit hard to sustain. Your character, if you are acting or love bombing, that is hard to sustain. Eventually, that shit is going to fade away and the real you going to pop out. And what I hate is when people act like they didn't have a clue. You didn't have a clue? Man, please. I don't believe that part.
Might not have. Some
I don't
people are
believe
just
that
that
part.
good.
That must mean that person is lost and their head is in the air. Because if you are developing a relationship with people, you should be attentive to the things that you like and don't like about stuff.
But they're not showing you the things that you don't like. That's the whole point.
But
People
you can
do
question
that.
things.
Why you think these women have a baby for a man who like
I don't know. I hate that. I just don't
like
not a baby. Some
well,
people
you know
talk
what?
about two babies.
Sometimes that's a choice too. Because if I know a man has I don't know how many kids, whatever.
9. That's a good number.
Let's just say 4. Who is going to be like, you know what? I want to be number 5. That's what I want with my life.
And then you get mad because of something that this man that you chose with 4 or 5 other kids did something uncharacteristic from the first date. Man, come on.
Okay, let me play this.
What does it say that? So I heard someone say a thing that I found pretty profound on the internet. It was said, too often we are coming into relationships with the expectation of perfection when a relationship is about construction. And what does it say about us that we're so willing to make determinations about people we chose to be with so early in the relationship process that we're tossing it out rather than being willing to construct a thing over time that builds value?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of what
sorry.
I mean, my response would be there are some certain things that are just red flags that let you know, okay, this isn't worth my time. This is a red flag, and I'm not going to see the flag until I'm way too invested. So I might as well get out now before it gets worse.
Well, but then you're being a little jumping the gun there, where you don't need a red flag to see a red flag. So I would say it's a good time to mention what is the value of what is the value of forgiveness and boundaries, because you need both of those things in a relationship for it to work.
I don't understand. You don't need a red flag to see a red flag. I didn't understand.
He said you don't need to. If something is a red flag, you don't need to see another red flag to identify that red flag.
Is that what you were saying?
What you were saying was that maybe you won't be able to see the red flag until it's too late. So then you have to bail before you even see the red flag.
Oh, no.
That's like seeing a red flag without seeing one. Like
no, okay. Well, maybe. Okay, that's not what I meant to say. If that's what I said, I said you see red flags, and if when you start seeing red flags, why continue? Because you're just going to start seeing more.
Yeah.
Or
that's the point
it's going
you're supposed to communicate and talk. I want Michael said something about
you could set a boundary.
You
Yeah.
said something about forgiveness.
Yeah,
I want to know in the early stages, right? When you are doing this discovery, and is now chime in because you also said stuff about you got to have that time frame enough to be able to know, if it's worth it. So I'm trying to say, what is something in the beginning of a relationship that is like unforgivable stuff that is like no flags needed, Michael. Michael, you said no flags, right? Recognizing them.
I
How
got
do you
one.
know when it's something that you can forgive
I got
versus
some.
when you say this it?
I
Well,
got
people
some.
need to have their red flags before they have to know what they are, their boundaries are before they get involved a little bit, right? Know your limits and work within them.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm talking about. That's why to me it's puzzling that people have to wait so long into the dating or that little awkwardness of discovering the people. Because before you even get in it, you already in your mind should know what you want and stuff, right? You don't just jump in shit.
Well, there's wishful
I
thinking,
know I didn't.
right? People tell themselves what they want to hear, so they don't have to maybe admit that things aren't what they were expecting anymore. Or yeah.
Can I say congratulations to Mother on her. She's going to be on her 57th anniversary in December.
Ooh,
Ain't that awesome?
I never
She
did
said
nothing 57 times.
lots of ups and downs in that time, but she hung in there and she got her man, baby. And I'm happy for her.
I would say I'm down for Michael's point. I like forgiveness. I don't think there's anything that is not unforgivable because I believe forgiveness is for me. Forgiveness sets me free. So I think all things are forgivable. I'll say that, and I practice that.
I have to say that I love it, but it's something that is so frightening to me. Because people, let me tell you what makes that frightening to me is now because the depths of what people do to hurt each other. Like I've been on the outside of relationships for a long time before getting into one. And I've seen myself, people that were supposedly in good relationships, intentionally hurt each other. And I mean, like with gloves off type stuff. And I'm like, if you love people, why I wouldn't do that?
Well, sometimes hurt people, and also they might be a narcissist. It might not love you at all.
That, but why intentionally being something like that? That's what I'm saying.
Because that's narcissist has control, keeps their control over you. Can I just go to?
Hold on, I didn't finish my point there. I know you want to go to this next thing here. Is that what you want to do, Abby?
Yeah, no, finish your point. I do because there's a couple of videos.
Just let me just quickly reiterate and put a cap on it. So the opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference.
I've heard that.
So if someone if people do things to one another that are gloves off, it's not because they are not in love with that person. It's because they're choosing, in my belief and opinion, they're choosing a negative way to emote because their feelings are hurt. And so they want to sort of project that back onto the other person. That doesn't necessarily mean they don't love that person. They're just emotionally immature in the way they're expressing their hurt feelings. So that's why I would say that.
I do say something.
I do believe that.
It sounds like you're giving them a pass.
But
I do believe that forgiveness is required in all and every situation. I don't think there's anything that's unforgivable.
So what if they don't ask for forgiveness?
Like a Christian unconditional love kind of place where that comes from.
I know. I never. Wow.
I do believe that, because if you're not willing to forgive, then some semblance of that energy from that experience you're bringing to the next thing. And so you're always going to be, like the sister said before, in some state of an investigative mode because you have harbored that energy from that last thing. So you're looking for things to prevent that other thing from happening again. And that's not bringing a complete circle of self into the next relationship. So
not
that's why
authentic.
forgiveness is necessary, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Also,
I did.
I would say.
Okay.
That's interesting.
I don't agree with that.
I'm gonna have to listen to it again. This now is tripping me out. It's really tripping me out because I love the way he is delivering his points, but it makes me think differently because it's so opposite of what I think. Like it's of what I've been, raised in and been exposed to as an adult. Even it's foreign to me what you're saying, and
There are
so I'm
some
gonna have to
people
watch
I've
this show
never.
again to listen.
There's some people I don't forgive for the things that they've done to me, but that they don't. I don't think about them. I don't like it.
I
Doesn't.
know, but that's unique.
No,
because most
Abby,
people that shit keep playing in their brain.
hope, maybe perhaps consciously in your waking moments as you go through life, you're not thinking about that person. But if there is some sort of something that reminds you or triggers something that you can associate with a past thing, you're harboring that energy. And you will recognize and exist in that energy on the next thing. It's just human behavior. Association is.
Let me twist that a little bit.
I agree. I agree with that.
Let me twist that a little bit. The older you get, the more experiences you have, you're supposed to learn from them. So you're supposed to see, like I learned from my experiences, be very careful with a fast talker because they're talking that, not all the time, but most times they're talking that fast because they don't want you to catch everything they're saying because they want to scam you in some type of way. There's something about them I'm not saying that they're a scammer. I'm saying my experience has taught me watch that person and don't trust them fully. Just see, because they could just have ADHD or something. But
this is where I was gonna say. I think recency bias.
I was about to say that.
I think there's the logic, the stuff about fallacies is kind of helpful even though it doesn't seem like particularly useful for relationships. But when there's a sunk cost fallacy with relationships, and there's recency bias that happens when we're trying to decide what's going to happen in the future based on what we've already witnessed in the past. Sometimes our belief about what's going to happen becomes biased in a bad way based on what we've already experienced, not believing that people are going to or capable of change. And then the sunk cost is when you've already put so much into the relationship, you feel like you can't possibly leave it. Right.
What did that lady say about you putting too much into a relationship that you can't leave it? You can. You're leaving it for you.
Go ahead, Abby. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I can't remember now. Can I play this video?
I'm sorry. But I want to. So this conversation, this particular iteration of the conversation, started with recognizing red flags. So I want to share a little bit and sort of get your feedback, right? Because, like I said before, I'm not out there, not a whole bunch. Interesting thing happened to me that sort of relates to this conversation. I was in New York. I don't know. I flew there for a couple days, maybe a month or so ago. And I just happened to be in a pizza shop I like on Grand Street having a slice of pizza. Woman comes in, sits down, attractive woman, so I invite her to come sit with me. She sits, we have a great conversation. I was like, oh my God, this is so great. I haven't seen her again since, right? We exchanged Instagram information, but she's a TikTok model, whatever that means. I don't know. I don't have TikTok, so I don't follow her, and I'm not in the loop, right? But she's like, so we're chatting back and forth, whatever. We really haven't been, it's not consistent, right? Maybe once in every 2 weeks, hey, how you doing on Instagram, whatever. Over the last week, she hits me on Instagram, and it's more frequent. Gives me her number now. I never had her phone number before. I give her my number. Now we're texting, right? More consistent conversation over the last week, where in maybe a month and a half it was sparring, it was spare at best. A couple days ago, she asked me for money. Out of the blue. I've seen her once in my lifetime.
Yeah.
We talked sparingly at best. All of a sudden, in a week's time, it's been an accelerated interaction, and she hips me up for money. Now, I gave her the money because it's a little bit of money for me. So, and she said she needed help.
Ask her for more.
But it is.
Yeah, but you don't even hold on. But you don't even know her. She has family. Now,
So,
the fact that she asked you for money means she's done this to her family and close friends so many times she can't go back right now.
Or she does that to men that she's interested in.
She's looking for new people.
Who knows? It's like
you know, Kai Cenat.
Jump conclusions. That's the thing about the red flags, right? Yeah.
Okay, well, Michael, you was
you
gonna
are
give her
right
the
to
money.
know. What? What's that?
You were gonna give her the money.
Look,
I usually give people money kind of when I shouldn't.
Listen
right?
to your elders.
I gave her the money. So I'm just like,
trend that's going on.
She needed some. Go ahead. I'm listening. I'd like to hear the feedback on that.
All right, I'm just trying to tell you. I heard two similar stories recently. One was from Kodak Black, and he was vulgar with his. He was online. He was responding to this girl who must have asked him for money, or somehow money came into it, and he said the most vulgar shit about not wanting to give her the money. Right now, that's his. The other one I heard was Kai Cenat talking to one of his friends.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying, he's saying how girls are asking for money for stuff. Like you don't even you're not even with a man long enough, and you're asking to pay for your rent. Kai Cenat's conversation with the I forgot who he was talking to, but it was basically talking about how women come into situations like that. You know what I mean? Already thinking about this dude gonna pay my rent. Like he said that he was hanging out with a girl. And then later on in the night, she was talking about how she regret hanging with him because she could have been with a man that would have paid her rent. And then he was like, well, you can go. you can go. Kind of thing, right? But she didn't go. But I'm just saying how that comes up so frequently now.
Okay, but look at the caliber of women you're talking about.
I'm talking about the influence of social media on these young girls with that on their mind, prevalently on their mind.
Right.
That's on their mind when they're looking for a guy. They're not looking for a guy because he's a good dude. He got great values.
Okay.
It's like, can you pay my rent? Can you take me to the nail salon?
Or is great values in the minds of a particular set of women being with a guy who is willing to do that sort of thing, right? This is what I was meaning with the materialistic sort of consumerist value system, right? If you deem a good value system to be a man who's willing to give money when requested, then in her mind, that's a good dude. And maybe I might consider dating him and being with him because I know I can rely on. So I told you that story, but I've had 3 women ask me for money over my brief sort of interaction. So I gave her the money. The other 2 I didn't. And part of the reason why I gave it to her is because in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know this woman. Why is she asking me to pay for her car note, to help her get from A to B? Another one, her car was busted and she need money to get the engine fixed. So those 2, I was like, nah. But then when this girl asked, and I was like, well, at least, we had a pretty good conversation. I kind of like her, maybe this is a thing that I'm not getting. That I'm so old school or out of the loop that the value system has changed now. And if that's the mainstream cultural value system, then this is the new way to, sort of be there for someone or demonstrate, whatever is necessary to start a relationship, off on a good foot. I don't know. It seems odd to me, but it seems so easy now. Like you're saying, they're just coming right out, right off the bat. you know, let me see what it is. Can you give it over? You know.
I remember now. Okay.
I was going to ask you. You remember the movie Life with Martin and Eddie Murphy?
Oh yeah, great movie. Funny
You remember that scene whenever Martin was in the bar and he was meeting that young lady, the bartender, whatever she was, hostess, and he paid her. He gave her all the money that they had
Right,
to go be with her.
Did.
And then when
That's
Eddie Murphy came back, what did he say? What did he say?
I don't remember the line.
It was something like a mama needs surgery or some shit like
That's
that.
right.
But
That's right. She
same
just
thing.
juiced them 100%. 100%. Nah,
All right.
you know.
Well, I would say just quick before we move on too fast. That reminds me of the way that
for 30 minutes.
You want to get to that next?
Just the way that there are certain like hobo grifters, right? They've learned how to be a homeless person and actually make like profit off of people by just willing to ask anybody who walks by. They'll just say, "Hey, can you give me whatever money?" They don't care about the rejection anymore. They're just waiting. They're just asking everyone who comes by to see if they're one of those people that feels like they need to give money to whoever asks, and that's how they do it. And that seems like maybe some women have kind of just subconsciously acquired the same tactic with men. Like, I'll see if what happens. I'll throw some mud at the wall, see if it sticks or whatever. If they say no, they say no. I'll move on to the next one. Like,
the worst they could do is tell me no.
That sounds like people around New Orleans and here in the South and where I'm from. They have
that's
no humility
that's
whatsoever.
panhandling, which is different from pay my car note or whatever. And so you're putting yourself in a situation where if a man does start doing that for you, guess what? Guess what he gonna want? He want to get paid back.
Yeah, there is an exchange with the services.
That's why if I go on a date, I'm bringing my own money. I'm paying half. That way you can't tell me that I owe you anything because I don't.
Okay, that's cool for you.
No.
Can I tell you about my first blind date? I had a blind date. Well, I don't know if it was a blind date. I met someone and I hooked up with them to have a date. And it was not even a whole 24 hours later before this person was talking about what kind of and this is me. What kind of handbags or what kind of accessories they like while shopping. I mean, this is when I'm young, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? That was the last time that I saw that person because I'm like, we just met. And that was like years ago, sir.
She was setting the standard. Okay.
Please.
I'm about to play this video. Nobody else talk. Nobody. Except Mother. Mother, you can say whatever you want, whenever you want to. There is nowhere to date anymore. No dances, no roller skating,
right?
No malt shops. How do you get to know a person? Picnics, maybe?
you go to the bar where there's all kinds of noise.
You go to the bar and drink a lot.
Look at their social
you know
profile.
What?
Make a
I love it, Rondo.
I'm gonna let this one slide through.
Rondo.
I'm gonna let this one slide through. You saw it.
That's happening with some relationship choices. I don't want no disabled person. Only able-bodied relationships allowed. You know, we don't need to go. We gotta play the video. We're gonna go on a tangent again.
Right.
Cribs, MTV Cribs, Sean.
Bad Cookies says they meet online. Leslie, you know the comedian Leslie Jones. She was on Drew Barrymore's show, and Drew Barrymore was just mentioning that she tried like dating online, and Leslie was like, "Girl, I stopped trying to date because I'm not trying to be your mother." She said you should take all those dating apps and make them into one, and call it What's Left. Anyway, no, this is positive about her husband. So we're gonna be positive because not all those relationships are like that. But we don't want to not pay attention to those things that are problematic in partnerships that need to be addressed. But here we go.
I'm like telling him about the alpha males that pursue me and they come after me and why aren't you doing that? And he said, I'm a masculine man. I'm not an alpha male. He said alpha males are hunters, but they're not keepers. He said, I'm a keeper. He said, but masculine men will always stand behind alpha men who are always talking and toting and bravadoing. He goes, and we'll just wait for them to run out of gas. He said, but we don't ever try to get in front of them. But we're the ones that's always there for you when you're crying. We're the ones that's always going to support you through your hard time. But we're also the ones you're always going to step over to get to the alpha male. He said, because television polarizes, displays, and honors the alpha male. He goes, and I have nothing against them. He said, but there's a whole group of beautiful men called masculine men. And we're not aggressive. And we're not bravado. That's not our personality. But we will just be there for you.
Now,
But when you
I
need
wanted
to,
to,
will you be?
I wanted to play that one so bad because that reminds me of both of you. You're masculine men. You don't need to like pop off with all this bravado. I'm alpha male, this, I'm that. You don't have to say it because you show it through your actions. That's the kind of man. That's the green flag man.
1 second. Let me tell you what I know for sure about Mr. Michael. I could agree with what you're saying about him being a masculine man. But my thing is, just because you could be a masculine man, you got to learn how to turn on an alpha dog when necessary.
He does.
And let me tell you what makes me know for certain, because I've seen Michael. And that motherfucker turned to a pit in a minute. Michael will go off in a minute. But I don't see is now getting that aggressive. Mike, you get aggressive, bro. You get downright with him.
Yeah. See, personally, I don't think
but
that the
Isaiah,
alpha male.
I mean, it's now.
I think alpha males are kind of a myth. That's more of like an unpopular belief that I have. I think that we get that from the idea of the wolf pack as the alpha male, and I think in the wolf pack, it's found out to be a myth, in a sense, by the scientific people who research that. And then when you realize that if it's a myth in the wolf pack in real life, then it's got to be a myth with human beings, because we're just like whatever anthropomorphizing that thing that's going on. And so, and it's the alpha male is really the pimp, in a sense. It's not really so. Like, yes, there's people who believe that and then emulate that, but I think that it's like learned behavior as opposed to like who they are intrinsically. So, and then there's the thing I was going to say about Sigma or whatever. I think that the kids have this slang term these days. I heard about like a cool. I look it up. It says Sigma slang meaning, and it says a cool, independent, and rebellious person. Originally referred to Sigma males who ignore social standards or conventions. So it's someone ignoring the expected convention of being alpha male and still having the confidence to be what they consider to be a man. So.
Because we humans, I see women claiming to be alpha male women, and I think that's kind of weird.
Why?
I think it's weird to say that kind of stuff because, just like in relationships, you play the part that's needed when it's needed.
They're using using the language. They're using the language that's being used in social media. I
know,
have one of those.
It's
you want to see it?
Yeah, but I'm saying it just takes what is being force fed to us, like he just said. That shit not real, right? But it's being given to us as though it's law. And when people look at this, who might not be exposed to a lot of different situations and educationally enlightened or whatever you want to say, when people look at social media and stuff like this, they start making themselves feel like intelligent because of what this woman said, and they could
They're using language that they understand because that's the language that's being given to them.
Even though
right?
they don't even fully know it and understand it, like he just said.
Well, I mean, isn't that what that other woman just was trying to do? Right. So she needs some. this lady right here needs.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Leslie.
Who is Leslie?
So if I could, before you play that, I didn't speak to the alpha situation, and I was sort of to give my 2 cents on that. I'm a highly confident individual. People who know me know I may border on arrogance, but I walk in humility because I'm consciously always in suppression of the ego to the best of my ability. But real G's move in silence is the code I was brought up under. And those who know me know I move to the front of the line when it's necessary. But in all other instances, there's no need for me to be quote unquote alpha. I know my capabilities. When necessary, I step to the front. Otherwise, I keep.
I never felt that you were arrogant at all. I just felt that you were confident.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Arrogant has a
I'm
negative
gonna step away.
Arrogant has a negative connotation. Confident has a positive connotation.
I think
I think you just probably made me fall in love with you. I'm not even kidding. Somebody that my brother sat up there and say, "Look, I'm gonna watch this show again just to listen to your comments and responses because I love the way you're speaking, man. I would love to meet you. But look, you said I'm confident, and the way you said it is what I try to teach young men, not just black men, young men that I have taught. That confidence is the thing that shines bright like a diamond, bro. That's the rare thing about a person that makes someone else want to be in a relationship with you, get to know you, and all that other great things. It's the confidence that you have within that is projected out. I love it.
Okay, so I want to play this.
I love it.
When you're dealing with those, when you're dealing with those young black men, right? Confidence
can't hear you.
is.
She can't hear. Oh, you can. Oh, she can hear you. Sorry, she's walking away.
No, I
for a
just
second,
wanted
but
to
she
say,
still hear
inner confidence is built through the consistent sort of accomplishment of things in life, right? So I think maybe some of our young folks aren't having enough accomplishment over resilience or building resilience over accomplishments, overcoming challenges, which foster that inner confidence. I've had that over a long period of time. Maybe that might be a thing that's lacking in our young black men that way. So, what is the thing that can be conveyed to them to help them to build that inner confidence? I'm not really sure, on that. That's a longer conversation. But I do believe that inner confidence is built through the resilience of overcoming challenges and knowing that you can rely on yourself internally to overcome all things.
Being vindicated in actually achieving success, it does help build assurance in yourself. With the word confidence, I feel it helps to remember the root of the word is to confide. So I think what would help maybe build people with their internal confidence is if they could have people that they can rely on, that they can communicate with trust, and that if these people can convey honestly that like a positive perception of a person's behavior or accomplishments, then this helps them know that what they did was appreciated and valued, and then they can know that their confidence is real. So.
Yeah, and we not even like on some money thing, right? Because accomplishment is and success, that's not about money in the sort of capitalistic sense. Just creating value through small wins over time. Greatness is a lot of small things done really well over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So that's all I got. You want to play the next video? I know.
Yeah, Black
She
Life
wanted
wanted
to
to
play
say
it, but I
something
had to
real
say
quick.
something. You said that you said a lot of good things just now, and then Michael chimed in, and I kind of lost what my train of thought was. But you were saying that it has to be taught. I was trying to understand what you said before that.
Well, I think to what you were saying is you deal with a lot of young black men and try to instill that inner confidence in them. And what I was saying is under what circumstances can we place them
Oh, I know what it is.
in positions to create those small wins of overcoming overcoming adversity, building resilience, self-reliance, self-assuredness that ultimately breeds or cultivates that inner confidence. If we're trying to teach that thing, right?
I love that, because that is exactly what's missing. Once upon a time, they used to have trades, skill training within schools, right? Where kids could learn electronics, mechanics, and certain things within the school day, right? Which made them employable, which made them able to find success, before school was over, have a direction.
Yeah.
But there are no opportunities that create those for young black men or men. I'm not just going to say young black men, but especially young black men.
Yeah.
It's because those things are not here in the South like it would be in.
Nah, that's
okay. I'm about to
and
play my
purposefully
video.
so. Those things have been
I'm playing my video. That is not even the topic of the discussion.
Getting close up to 2 hours too, so are we maybe
know.
wrapping up
And I
shortly?
had so much to play.
Oh, it's sorry. It's all good.
No, you and Michael in trouble because I need to hear Is Now more often. Come on, Is Now. Bring it, baby.
I was going to moderate.
We've had great discussion over these 2 hours. A lot of positive output.
It was a lot of positive. So maybe we could come back to this topic, because I have some other stuff. Oh, she wants to continue it on Black Life tomorrow.
I have some stuff for Black Life, but I would definitely love to.
I'm in Tennessee right now, and I'm driving to Alabama tomorrow.
Oh yeah, see.
Yeah,
good.
I'm in a hotel right now.
I would love your input on it.
Okay, so here we go. Let me press play. This is about your alpha male.
My household.
Okay.
So how a man would be a head of his household and run things, I have to do that until a man comes in and does that. Yes, I am an alpha. The bills are paid by me. My kids are taken care of by me. I run everything that goes on in my life and my children's life to a T. Nothing does not move unless it moves through me. I'm an alpha female. I'm in the working field. I'm competitively in the working field.
What happened?
Nothing to just.
Let me ask you a question. I'm not beneath. I'm a woman. So you're telling me something that I'm telling you is not true. I look at myself as an alpha female. The reason I'm not bigger, I'm not stronger. Lord knows I can't wait till an alpha male comes in my life and takes over. I'm an alpha female because I am the head of my household.
I don't understand
So
what
how
that
a man
means,
would be
though,
a head
alpha.
of his household and run things, I have to do that until a man comes in and does that.
What is a man?
Yes, I am an alpha. The bills.
Hold on. When she says and runs things, I don't understand what she's talking
She
about.
wants somebody to relieve her of her duties.
Let me finish my statement. When she says, I'm an alpha and I want someone to come in and run things, I just think, jeez. Okay. Most women run the household.
Yeah, a single mom or mom.
No,
or
most
mom.
women in a married relationship run the household. They make the appointments. They plan the trips. So what is the alpha male gonna come and run? What is she talking about?
Provide her a sense of security.
Provide
her a sense of relief from
so
the
you're
things.
talking about money?
It doesn't sound like it doesn't necessarily have to be money. She
Money,
sounds like
physical
she has
protection.
pressure.
Okay, this physical protection thing, I think is a cop out, because protect us from what? Women have pew-pews. You're gonna protect us from this this boogeyman that.
It's all the stereotypes, right?
Where's the boogeyman coming from?
But maybe if in a situation, if you lose your gun, you're still gonna have to rely on your muscles. So then people have this thing about men are inherently stronger and superior in some ways than women and stuff. And so then they take that kind of extrapolate it. And so then
they're not always brighter. So that strongness stuff can go out the window.
Yeah.
My thing is this. society is making this lady thinks that she needs a man. She's doing everything her own self for her family, but in her mind, she's still waiting for that rescue from this man to come and relieve her, so she won't have to do that. You feel what I'm saying? She proud to say that she is an alpha female, but she's quick to say, I can't wait until an alpha male comes to relieve me of my duties.
Because there are three
What
things that they
duties?
want:
What she's saying.
protection and
What
sex.
does it paying the bills? The probably thing she doesn't want to do, April. I mean, Abby. The thing she doesn't want to do.
I ain't with that one.
But that's what she's saying.
I'm not with that one.
Like a lot of women would
It
say
doesn't make
they
any
don't.
sense.
Like you could get a
not
get a
logical.
gun. You could get a gun. You don't need a man to protect you, or you can get a dildo. You don't need a man, or whatever. But then some people would say, really, is it really like quid pro quo?
That's
You
not
can't really just
emotional.
trade one
It's
out
not-
or whatever, and one's like. I'm just saying, like, there's the women who appreciate an alpha male. Those seem to be the three main things that they're looking for them or from them, is physical protection and money, which provide like security. Okay, financial security, physical security, sexual security. Okay.
I'm still of this whole protection thing is like I don't see where this is coming from. There are
Some
plenty
women
of-
are like twigs. Some women never bother. They don't need to defend themselves. They don't need to learn how to. Men too, whatever. I don't need to learn how to protect myself if other people are doing it for me, kind of thing. So
correct. So if that's what you want, fine. But to say I need him to come relieve me of these things, I'm just trying to figure out what is he relieving her from.
Or
When
maybe
the woman has
obviously stress.
Let me finish. When the woman, what stress is he going to relieve her from other than financial stress?
perhaps the
Maybe
collective.
that's what that particular woman is talking about.
maybe duty, reliever of duty, of having to responsibilities, of playing the role of the man.
What's the role of the man?
Well, she's saying as an alpha woman. So maybe if that particular person considers herself an alpha woman, when she's being relieved, when she finally meets an alpha man, perhaps she's being relieved of the duty of playing both roles, is what I'm speculating there.
What's the role though? Tell me what the role is.
Well, it's kind of, it's a stereotype. It varies based on your perception. It's
If you
subjective.
keep doing that, please stop. Stop.
You asked the question, I'm answering. You said what role, and I'm saying that.
But I was talking to Michael.
Well, say Michael. Don't just say it as a general question, because I'm going to answer.
What's the role?
I'm saying it's subjective. It varies from person to person what they believe the role of a man or a woman is. That's what we call the gender roles, right? That's where that discussion kind of has relevance. But I'm kind of curious what Black Life was answering. Yeah.
She said head of household.
Yeah.
I don't need a head of my household. I need a partner in my household.
So that kind of agrees with me as far as duty. That would be a responsibility from the way I would frame that.
So I would say that
that's what I interpret the words.
There's a couple things. I'm going to answer your question. Yeah, I would say traditionally the man would be the head of the household and the woman would be the heart of the household. And those two things together operate to bring about an environment that's created with the head and the heart to cultivate the emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental
balance.
In light the what's the word?
Harmony.
Maturity of the child. That's the purpose of the home. See, each video that we've watched, in my opinion, at the top of the food chain or at the point of the pyramid, it begins with money. And money is, in my opinion, not the top of the food chain when it comes to creating a household or being responsible for a household. The purpose of the household, in my opinion, and the reason for having both man and woman be in that household is to create an environment from which the children can mature and develop emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically. And the head, which is the man, and the heart, which is the woman together create that environment. And that's the responsibility. And so when you have a single mother household or a single father household, you're missing one component that brings about the balance that's necessary to foster well-balanced and well-adjusted children. Now,
So we were talking about, oh, I'm sorry, you weren't finished.
No, it's okay.
So we were talking about this language of alpha, alpha male, alpha this, about how you hear that on social media. So this is the language that people have. I feel the same way with this head of household thing. Like, what? List to me what a head of household does. I need like tangible.
I'm happy to do that.
List.
The head of the household.
No, give me a list of what someone who is considered the head of the household. What do they do day to day to have that name or title as head of household?
It is distorted, but I'm saying because it's placed on like a tax form or in preparations to complete your taxes. Head of household is a category.
You have to answer my question.
I'm saying that's a role that is predetermined.
He hasn't answered.
But
you're not answering it. What is the role? That's what I'm asking.
Like power of attorney, basically, like ultimate decision.
What are you doing? What are you doing to be the head of a household?
Is the person that keeps.
Gotta let Isaiah.
That keeps what? That keeps what? Because that would be the woman if you were about to say that keeps the house in order, like running smoothly.
Safety is a priority of a house.
I think it's executive decision.
Right? The head of household not only provides but keeps the house safe.
In my opinion,
now normal traditionals. That's the male.
Okay.
But in our real life environments, if a single woman, a single mom is the head of the household, she still can keep her house safe with your your pew pew. Okay. But I'm saying traditionally, the man keeps the house safe and provides.
Okay.
That's the head of the household.
All right.
But for tax purposes, it's who's managing the fucking economics, who's managing the money.
I want to hear what Ismail has to say.
Response now, Isaiah.
So I would say that in a traditional, well-maintained family household, the head of the household sets the cultural agenda by which that family conducts themselves, has a relationship to their divinity or their higher power, and they set the sort of hierarchy of moral values and principles for their family and their life and how they conduct themselves in private and in public. That is set by the head of the household. This is what we believe in. This is what we worship. This is who we are as people. This is how we represent ourselves outside. This is how we talk to each other inside. When we move out of step with those values, it's the head of the household who, having set that cultural agenda, brings things back into line.
I disagree because you aren't going to have a partner who doesn't have all those same constructs that you set. So you're really not setting anything. You just really choosing a partner who believes those same things that you believe in. So that I don't.
Well, that's a blanket
I need something
statement.
more. I need something more tangible.
Well, I would say that you have a fervent, well-held belief that is against the idea of man being head of the household. And with your sort of built-in bias, you perhaps couldn't hear something that would change your mind in any way. So I'm not going to give you anything that would help you or that would direct you away from your held belief, which I respect.
No, I'm not saying I have a held
belief. What
belief.
I do know to be the case, having been the head of a household, I know it to be the case that there's, for whatever you believe or disbelieve, there's God, there's man, and then there's beast, right? And then there's whatever it is, right? So in a well-functioning traditional house, someone sets the cultural agenda two people can set it together, can come together and discuss those ideas, those beliefs. Yet, and also, I believe it is the case through my experience and what I believe to be necessary in a traditional, well-running family household. One person is going to have perhaps an idea or a vision, and another person is going to have perhaps the details and the operational acumen to execute that vision. So the head perhaps will only have the idea and the vision, but the heart will be the one that will execute that vision on a daily basis, right? This is why you have both energies under a well-maintained home. So I get my inspiration, I convey it to my woman, my wife conveys it to my children. I mean, this was the original
Thank you. The
traditional concept of our family. God taught man, man taught woman, woman teaches children, children perpetuate that value onto their children, and so on and so forth. So
okay, so I'm
maybe we're
asking,
looking at head of the household in a way that is today putting man above woman, but I don't believe that man above woman in a power dynamic way is the same as man above woman, head of the household, the same way my head sits above my heart. But one, if my heart dies, there's no blood pumped to my brain and my brain dies. If my brain dies, then my heart stops.
okay,
So one
so
cannot exist without the other.
I feel like, so I'm listening to all this like it feels like fluff language, and I'm trying to get to some like very specific things, because if we're
I just gave you specifics, Buddy Do. I did not give you anything fluff. I gave you specifics.
Yeah, well, okay. Well,
setting a cultural agenda for morals and values.
And then I explain.
It doesn't get any more specific than that.
No, they're not. Okay, but there's so much more to do in a household than that. So, and I kind of explain, a man is not going to marry someone that doesn't have their same morals and values anyway. So, are you really just setting him, or are you choosing?
I think,
and let me and then secondly, if we're not in a traditional era anymore, and we have two people in the home that are working, I need to know, what is the expectation of a head of household? Like, what I want to see, what are the things he's supposed to be doing, and what are the things she's supposed to be doing? Because women go to the gun range now, women work now.
If two people are working,
if all you're providing is protection and financials as your role, well, that is not an even.
Why are we not
be working 50-50?
Okay, so let me ask you this. If two people are working, right? Two parents are working. In a two-parent household that's working, if they are completely disconnected from their family as a unit, they don't have boundaries, they don't have parameters, they don't have nothing. But if two working people are working and have a family, they should be communicating at how that family structure is together. It isn't a one dominating over another. That's in a good home. But in some American homes, you got one person assuming the responsibility, the stress, the overload, and leaving another person to just go shopping.
It kind of reminds me of the difference between direct democracy.
I'm just saying, it could be the man or the woman.
It's like the difference between direct democracy and centralized democracy. People argue about. I think the reason for a head of the household, I was saying earlier, is the ultimate need for when there's disagreements, like serious disagreements, you need a final decision maker that overrides the other party, because otherwise there will be no moving forward together. So the way to resolve this issue, I think traditionally, with the patriarchal kind of mindset, was that in order to resolve that problem, we have to elevate the man above the woman as the decision maker, the final, I say it and it goes this way and you don't get to argue. because that's like the centralized democracy version, as opposed to direct democracy, where the centralized democracy is you agree to have the relationship, but then you agree who is the leader. That's the democratic part. Once you've made the decision, the centralized authority has been set up, and you've submitted your own authority as secondary to, you've decided voluntarily this person deserves to have more of a say than you. In a direct democracy, you say, I don't agree with that structure. If we're going to have a relationship, we get to have equal say. You do not get to be the head of the household. We are co-heads of the household. There's two heads to this body. So
okay, well,
You see-
this is how I feel.
What normally? I'm sorry.
Okay, because you're saying that it's the person who's more dominant. I don't agree with that either.
I'm saying usually.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me get it
It
out.
doesn't.
Let me get it out. Different people
I can
have.
defend my position afterwards, right?
Yes. Different
Okay.
people have different skills, right? Like, I might be better at finances. That person might be better at, I mean, just fill in the blank, fill in the blank. If you're saying, well, we determine you're more dominant, so you're the leader, you have the final say, and you suck at finances, why would I give you the final say of finances? I don't care what's in between your legs.
yeah.
Or why would I let you make the decisions on, I don't know, like the educate, like schooling for the kids, when I know more about the education system. That's kind of something that I follow or whatever. That would be dumb to give somebody else a final say on something that you are better at than them. I think and you guys should decide who's better at what.
You know what supersedes dominance?
I'm trying to get you out of the camera. I'm trying to help you.
Okay. But you know what supersedes dominance? Respect. If somebody has more knowledge in an area in a relationship than the other person, respect determines how they handle the situation.
That's not
for
what you
each
said,
other.
though.
No, I said because in real life, I've seen women more dominant than the men, and I see women, even though they don't have experience, knowledge, in all of this, they don't have all of these checkpoints. Their spouse or their significant other is afraid of them, so they yield to them, and they make bad decisions. I'm saying the more dominant person usually takes over the relationship when there's not an underlying respect for each other. If you respect each other, then there's no dominance. We respect each other.
So can I show this example from what Sean is saying? Sean says, I take care of the kids. I take care of groceries and dinner. I clean. I do laundry. I haven't worked in 7 years because I'm lucky to have a good situation. It's 50-50 responsibility here. Okay. That makes sense.
And people,
okay, now what if
contesting that 50-50 shit?
No, what if Sean went to work also? And so did his wife.
Then that 50-50 will be comparable. It might be 40%.
This is what I'm trying to get. This is the information I'm trying to get out of y'all. That's what I'm saying.
But in a respectful relationship, there is no percentages. It's what we need.
Okay. Thank you.
That's what I believe in.
Thank you.
But I'm saying the majority of people don't. They don't respect each other enough to do that. They got pressures of alpha male fucking syndrome. They got pressures of this. They got pressures of that. And they're not authentic.
Pressures of head of household.
Yeah, they don't have authenticness with each other. If you respect the person that you choose to be with, there is no dominance.
So I feel like
how are we going to get to this?
I feel like the way I was trying to get there, I wasn't expressing myself enough to make it understood. So thank you, Sean, because you pretty much just kind of
in my mind, I'm thinking about what's out there. I'm not thinking about what is ideal and good to see or be. I'm talking about what we see out there now. What I see out there now is people trying to compete with each other in relationships. People being dishonest intentionally with each other in relationships. I don't have good models of good relationships, and that's my problem. I don't. Even before I got into the one I'm in now, it was rare that I seen models of respectful relationships.
she's from a
the way that
she's
now
from a
is
town
talking
where they
and the way that he was brought up is shit that I've been seeking out all my life, but it's never been modeled for me here.
She's from a small town that had a lot of domestic violence and broken homes. So that's what she's talking about.
Not only domestic violence, lack of opportunities, which drove people to be that way. Like he said, if you don't experience
economic
success,
pressure.
if you don't have models of it, if you don't know that your life could be valued and worthwhile and worth it, then you living on somebody else's terms, somebody else directing you what to do, and you modeling your life on what you see, not what you are.
Yeah,
that's nature versus nurture, right?
That's right. That's right.
But a lot of us doing that is because that's what we exposed to.
Oh,
and what I see now
dialectic
in
there.
the schools,
Wesley said it don't slow them down from making babies, though.
Well,
that's the problem.
Because that's the easy thing to do.
The easiest thing to do is
the easy thing to do is
yourself physically.
Well, do you have a comment for that? Is now since we because I feel like I'm being understood better now, so I may not have communicated well.
I think Sean gave a role reversal scenario that more aligned with your idea of bucking the head of the household patriarchal example.
No, he gave a traditional example. So if there is a wife who does not work, then yeah, she should be cooking, cleaning, doing all the things.
This is kind of the liberal version.
That's her 50
liberal tradition, and then the conservative tradition is the more patriarchal head of the household is the man. Kind of, I'd say.
I think a lot of this conversation is revolving around earned income, and I think that is a false I think that's a false narrative that's putting our family structure in a dire situation, because economically speaking, there are no dual households that can, well, first of all, like, I don't know the exact percentage, but most households are living either below the poverty line or right at it, right? It takes two incomes under one roof to just be above the sort of median income national average, right? So if there's only one household, then you're living below or significantly below the poverty line. And so a lot of our thought, a lot of our conscious behavior, a lot of our action, and a lot of our discussion is revolving around who earns the money. And so if you earn the money, who should do the work and all of that other stuff. And I think that entire discussion goes slightly below what I think is most important in a household. And that's to collectively decide who we are, what do we want to be, and what are we trying to accomplish. And once we set that guideline or that standard, everything else aligns with that choice. And if it doesn't align with that choice, then two people can have accountability held, can, sort of speak to which direction we're going, which direction we're not going. But if you don't set that, what is known to me as that social cultural agenda in your household, to set that standard of living, that standard of being, then it's going to be, well, I made more money, so you should do the dishes, or you work less hours, so you should take care of the kids. And this sort of micromanaging of the things that make the wheels turn. But if you've collectively decided we're a family who does XYZ, we're a family who are about XYZ, then every choice that's below that is already determined for you, because you've set a collective cultural understanding of who you are and what your family's about. So it doesn't matter if I make 100 and you make 50. We made 150 and we're going to allocate 150 to XYZ. It doesn't matter if you wash the dishes every day this week and I sat on the couch because we've decided we're going to be this way. So it's never going to be an instance where I wash the dishes every week and you sit on the couch, because that's not who we have decided we're going to be as a family.
I think
and
what
so
you're
you're
getting
always
at,
coming back to that main hierarchy or that main point of who we're deciding to be. And that is the thing that holds all of the other decisions accountable.
I think what you're pointing at is money is kind of like a means to an end there, and we kind of forget that. We can be a little bit economically deterministic, and we can say that money makes the world go around. So money is what's the main driver behind all relationships. And what you're pointing out is that actually the money is whatever the dynamics of the relationship. The money is the means to an end, and the end is to provide a successful environment to raise children that can thrive in their future. So
that's exactly the purpose of rearing children and being parents in the home. And money, really, for, I'm not making any statements, negative or positive, about anyone anywhere in the world. But those who have means understand that money, first of all, is more than cash, right? So I'll just put that out there, economically speaking. But money is a tool that's used to facilitate lots of different things in our society. It's not, but I understand and I appreciate that. When you don't have,
Me and then you.
when you
Okay.
don't have a lot
No,
of it, it's a priority. I get that, but I think really if we refocus our attention to the priority being the environment we're creating to rear our children, then money will only be a byproduct of that environment, not a focal point.
Well, people say it's
I'm glad.
It's a necessity for some people's life.
Go ahead, guys. I don't mean to interrupt.
We gotta see who's going first because we're all on this topic. So I'm gonna let you wrap it up because what I have to say includes you, so you could respond to myself and is now. So maybe I should let Michael go first with his rebuttal, and then I'll go.
I was just saying, it's money. I think can be, especially from like a Marxist perspective, is we see money as a kind of an over determining priority, where it's meant to just be a means to an end, but it becomes something that determines what your ends are, whether you like it or not, because of the nature of the capitalist system. So you may have an idealistic version of what your family wants to become, but the material reality of money ends up like transforming what the relationship turns into inevitably into something different.
I'm pushing back on that, Michael, but I'll let others go.
Yeah.
You could go ahead.
No, you ladies interject. I've shared.
I just want to say I'm glad that we decided to have this conversation because, like, when you're in the camera, because sometimes like you have to say things out loud for you to really process it and understand what you are trying to convey, like which is why you talk to your friends about things, because once you say it out loud you start making things start making more sense to you instead of it just being in your head, you know what I'm saying? And so when you were talking about economics, I think because Black Life, we're still using that language. Some of that is because we're still using the language that we are hearing on social media, and we've been indoctrinated to use all our lives. And because really, I was trying to convey more about, instead of economics, about stressors. So let's have that example where someone is at home all day and they take care of the house and the kids and stuff like that, do all the cooking and cleaning and things like that. And the other person works and provides for the family. Okay. Now, if you have 10 kids, then that still isn't 50-50 because there's a lot of stressors on the person that's staying home, I think. I would think you would. Other person might need to put a little extra effort in, like on the weekend or something, to just give that person a chance for their body to, to relax and so they can recharge themselves, so they can come be their best selves in the relationship and as the parent, parent that does
So,
all the
but
things.
hypothetically speaking, Abby, in that scenario with 10 kids in today's household, isn't that other person working 70, 80 hours a week to maintain that family? So,
Not
what about?
usually, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Usually it's somebody who makes a lot of money and they have a big house and
That's what you think.
It's difficult to speak to hypothetical
right.
scenarios. They
So
can be massaged in any either way.
Yeah.
I guess the point was getting back to what Black Life was saying. It's about stressors, like who is having the most stress in their responsibilities. So we need to adjust. So we are equally taking on the stress depending on what type of job we have at work, what type of job we have at home.
Well, it's how we value different forms of labor.
Yeah, different forms of labor. Do I have a child that's autistic and requires? Is it emotionally draining? And that, like all of those things have to be taken into account, which leads back to what you were saying, Black Life, about. Um, I think Jacqueline said cooperation and respect, but you just said respect. Like I need to respect my partner enough to carry half the weight, whatever that weight looks like. You know what I mean? It might not be financial. It might be I don't know. But whatever that weight looks like for them, I need to show up for them as 100%. And sometimes I might be 80 and they might be like, yeah, I got 20 then. Or, you know what I'm saying? I guess that's what I was trying to convey and didn't do it well. Do you have a response to that?
What I was trying to say at the beginning is that if shit is not taught or modeled or observed, it's kind of hard for you to come up with your own conclusion of yourself at what's appropriate and what should happen and how you should live. There's so much distortion in this world that it's kind of hard for kids if they're not in a parent. It doesn't have to be a two-parent household. If they're not in a parent that's educated enough to empower that kid on how to equip themselves with these individual tools they need to succeed, then you don't automatically get that. I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of these essential things that you guys are assuming that kids just gonna have just because they have it because they get to a certain age. That's not the case. I'm like, if we are breaking down fundamental learning styles and learning habits and what kids are actually learning from their parents, from social media. And I'm telling you, you cannot make an assumption of what you think parents are getting kids, teachers are getting kids. I need y'all to get out of that mind frame. If a teacher is supposed to give kids this, and that, but a teacher isn't trained, a teacher has no empathy, a teacher can give a fuck about a kid, they're not giving that kid that essentialness. If a parent does not have the appropriate skills or experience in how or what to make essential to that kid, it's not happening. So a lot of things are assumptions of what should happen with these roles. But I'm here to tell you all that if you're not going back to follow up on those assumptions and roles of what, I don't care if it's a biological parent, a step parent, these roles are not being appropriately filled or taken seriously, because when kids are in school, there's a lot of neglect. There's a lot of absent skills and a lot of absent basic fundamental foundational skills that these kids don't have. And
Okay,
guess
so
what?
I feel like we're getting into
Hold up. What I'm trying to say is adult kids who are not adequately trained or exposed to things become adults who are not adequately exposed to things.
That's what
And
I
they
was
have
just about to
children,
say.
and that shit is cycled and
Now
cycled and cycled.
you get into the purpose of our poor education system and all that.
No,
like
I'm just trying to say the partnership of parents and the partnership of schools. There's a big disconnect that people making assumptions on that each of them are supposed to fulfill, and they're not doing that. So if you guys think that people are individually equipped with these skills, no, they are not. They are not equipped with these skills if they do not have parents at home, if they have teachers who can give a shit about them. They are not equipped to handle this. And any place that shit is more prevalent is here in the South.
Well, it sounds like a word you're
I'm just
talking
trying
about.
to tell y'all the truth.
That's called
talking about
anomie.
creating wage slaves.
Anomie is the word. I don't know how to pronounce it maybe properly, but anomie. That's a lack of the usual social or ethical standards in individual or group. So basically, it's a social condition defined by an uprooting or breakdown of any moral values, standards, or guidance for individuals to follow. So when your parents don't really teach you how to properly exist in the world and in society, you end up having a lawless kind of interpretation of how you don't know how to behave. You don't have a rule book to follow. So you're a
Right.
ruleless.
But what if those kids, those parents, were not given the chance by their parents? We don't understand how fast
He's
people
not
are
saying
becoming
that's not
parents.
the case. He's just
I know he's
saying
not saying it, but I'm saying we don't realize how fast people are becoming parents. T.I.'s son King is now a parent. I don't know if y'all follow, celebrities and shit like that, but King is a disturbed young man himself, and now he is a parent. Obviously, his parents didn't give him the essential tools he needed not to become a parent unequipped, but now he's a parent.
Well, I mean,
And he's a celebrity, but I'm trying to tell you,
we're in
in
an
regular
era.
society, how prevalent becoming a parent not equipped
Yeah,
is.
there are grandmothers that are younger than me.
So I'm trying to say these basic skills that you guys are assuming that people are supposed to be getting from their parents are not there because their parents are not equipped to give it to them.
The knowledge transfer is
I
very
put
important.
the definition
Not
in
just
the chat
in
for
the
you
family.
guys.
The knowledge transfer is not happening in a lot of ways where people need jobs. We need industries to continue, and there's not enough people taking on those new skills. People are like the capitalist people are estimating or underestimating how important the knowledge transfer process is because they don't really because people have to voluntarily like pass a skill down to somebody else. They have to actively ensure that the way that it is done is transferred from my mind to your mind, and that has nothing to do with profit. So it's being neglected. So
Black Life, I'll be the first to admit that a lot of what I say and believe and practice is philosophical, ideological, and aspirational. And while I believe we must aspire to a thing, I do recognize on the ground through my exposure with when I do volunteer and stuff and I get out there with the folks that there is a gap between those aspirations and those skills required. Unfortunately,
to be you
gotta sort of. I mean, I don't know what anybody has to do. What I do is I mean, it sounds really bad, but really, you just gotta sort of wade through and just find one, perhaps that you can have an impact on, and to the best of your ability.
Can't save them all.
I hear that, y'all. And look, I used to believe that. I used to believe that until I was actually a person who in there and seeing a class of 20 students, and somebody say I can only save one. But I got 20 students in here that need somebody. They got people out there in this world that can help these kids, but we're not connected to them enough. We all severely distracted in our personal materialistic or what I don't even know what else. All these problems that we have that makes us incapable of being able to connect to these kids who need us. I'm just trying to say, man, like there's a lot of these little sayings that go out, but in real life, We only supposed to be in 9th grade one time. We only supposed to be in 10th grade one time. And these kids are losing their years by COVID, by this distraction, by that distraction, by this bullet, by that gun fucking violence. And I'm like, these are the kids that's going to be employed in our society. And I'm just trying to say, man, we not doing them any kind of good by just saying fucking little, cliches and sayings about what's going wrong and not actually changing the shit. What I heard the other day made me so mad. I heard this teacher, just the last, I hear Abby do breathing, but I heard this
clear my
teacher.
throat.
Hold up. I heard this teacher talking about how students were, oh, these students are bad students, or something's going on with these students nowadays. These are not the same kind of students. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that I wasn't a part of that, because I was saying that temperament is different. But guess what else is different? Society is different, but their education is not reflecting what their society looks like. We are not teaching kids. Okay, Abigail. I see you giving me that little hand. I'm saying we are not equipping kids with a reflection of what's going on in their society right now, which means how to use technology appropriately, how to be aware of certain types of fraud or this and this and that. We're not embedding that into our education system. We're trying to force feed them some old fucking curriculums and old shit to fit them into that old stuff instead of matching what is a reflection of our society today.
Well,
and then we're going to get back and call them something wrong with the kids. Something wrong with them if they can't sit still. When you stimulizing them with cell phones and all these other things, and you're not teaching them how to use it to be productive, successful citizens, you're trying to withhold it from them, trying to keep it from them, while you see other people succeeding and excelling with these things, these tools. You telling kids they can't use this. You get this out your classroom. You can't. Instead of incorporating it into an education that reflects our society, we're not doing that. But we're judging these kids and labeling these kids and making them feel bad because they don't fit the mold of a traditional student.
Well, I just think the reason why the education system hasn't really caught up is because society has changed so fast, and education people have had disagreements over in what way should we adjust the education system to address the changes that have happened in society. And because liberals and conservatives have no ability to come to an agreement, some kind of consensus over how the education system must be officially changed, the society continues to change. Technology continues to transform society, and yet the education system's not able to catch up because we're bickering over what to do.
The education system has no interest in catching up, and liberals and conservatives are not looking to come to no consensus. The public education system was not created to educate people, to make them anything other than debtor slaves and workforce drones.
Yet they continue to judge these kids and these students on that standard. They're calling them special ed. They're calling them this, and that because they don't want to conform to what the traditional way of education is. Not matching that society is like ever changing. They're not doing that. They're trying to force these kids to think and sit still.
You got to blame somebody, so why not blame the victim?
They're trying to do away with public school.
If y'all don't want to blame the parents, I'm not blaming the kids.
I don't think. I think it's such a complex issue. There is nothing is resolved from blame. The only thing is solution, and there is no one magic bullet that's going to solve it. It requires a community. It requires a larger undertaking of more than just the parents, than just the teachers, than just society, than just the real estate taxes, than just the board of education, than just the principal.
Exactly.
We're talking about hundreds of years of conditioning, of miseducating and undereducating a particular population purposefully for a particular outcome. And those who wanted this outcome are winning. And you're wanting to reverse that thing definitely going to take generations to reverse it. Generations of concerted effort going in a completely opposite direction. But if you talk to parents about taking their kids out of this school that's conditioning them to go to prison, now you're telling them that they can't work because childcare is too expensive, or I can't buy them Christmas gifts because I got to go to work, or, you know, so there's so many layers of complexity to resolving the issue. I personally feel like at the crux of that issue is our, what Michael said, our means to an end sort of, you know, view on money, right? We've traded in all of the things necessary to educate our children to earn money. Our meaning, you know, low income, mostly Black children and families. And what would happen if we took our kids out of that school, stayed at home, didn't go to work, didn't live in these places or buy these things? And what if we returned to the land and lived in shacks and raised our children? Those parents and then grandparents and then great grandparents would have made a sacrifice materialistically, but that third generation would now be, in my mind, in a more powerful position to have broken the chains and the cycle of this thing that's being purposefully done to them. But are you gonna, is any woman or man who had on the nice clothes or was looking real nice, are they gonna make that sacrifice for 2-3 generations down the line? It's not gonna happen. So yes, the public school system is responsible, but also we're making that choice through, in large part, necessity, because you got to make money to survive, pay your bills, keep your lights on, whatever. So it's, you know, I think the sacrifice is way larger than any demographic is willing to make for 2-3 generations down the line to ultimately break that cycle. And then that third or fourth generation be the ones who construct a new idea of what's possible for their community.
I would say that's why we have no revolution as of yet, because people are not ready for the sacrifice. Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
I'm out.
I wanted to say, Sean, he said he went to kindergarten twice, and from a, I'm not an educator, but my mother was, and I've been around a lot of kids and learned a lot about this stuff. And it is better to hold a child back. But you said it was for your birthday, because of your birthday, whatever. But it's better to hold a child back in kindergarten, first grade, to get those fundamentals than to just let them keep going and let them get further and further behind. Because once they have those fundamentals, then they have something to build on. So I'd rather hold my child back in kindergarten, let them learn how to read, because they build prisons based off of reading scores.
Third grade reading.
Fourth grade. So I applaud your parents for doing that for you.
Abby, I gotta run. I'm super late.
Yep, we're leaving. Look, we are leaving, but I'm gonna leave on this. I'm gonna leave on your trad video. Is it a trad video? Am I saying that correctly? About a traditional
trad wife video.
I'm not sure. I have to add. Let me get on this side.
Thanks for joining us, Isaiah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Everyone in the chat for joining us.
And I'm hoping he's going to be coming back more often. So I'm gonna have to start stalking him a little bit. But I won't ask you for any money.
No money. No money. If she asks me for money again, then I know that's a red flag.
Okay, so
thanks for having me. Great talking with everyone.
Thank you.
You as well.
See you next time, maybe. So hopefully.
See you next time.
And that is a blessing.
what's going on. Hold on. Why is this not?
He provides and protects. I multiply. He is the head of the family. I am the heart. He provides the shelter. I give it a heartbeat. He provides the ingredients. I make the meal. He provides the house. I make it into a home. He takes care of my outer world. I take care of his inner world. He gave me love. I gave him life. Our roles complement rather than compete. Men and women are not the same, and that is a blessing.
Please have to finish. So I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with us today. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. We got a little heated.
It's perfect. This is what you need for a podcast.
But oh, hi Indy. Indy's in the house. Thanks for popping in. If you guys aren't like, share it, and subscribe to Indy News Network, go check them out. But I'm pretty sure all of you guys are. So yeah, Wesley, Snarky, Robbie, Jacqueline, anybody I miss? Old man Barker, Rondo, Sean.
Didn't expect to go quite so long tonight, but appreciate you guys for sticking out with us. I hope you guys appreciate a longer stream. So we'll see you next time.
Yep. Bad Cookies, Egg D's, everybody. Wesley. We love y'all. John. Okay. Anybody who I missed? I feel like I'm at an award show. And do I need to thank God?
You just have to say, if we missed you, you know, we didn't do it on purpose.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You're so